Hi there, this is Brian Hess of the Triton Voyages, and we're on board the sailing vessel Triton. I got back in Washington State on April the 8th, and it took me about a week until I was able to get back out here to have a look down below, see what was going on. And despite all the horrible misgivings I had as to what I was going to find, I was pleasantly surprised. Discovered that only a small amount of water was built up down here where the bilge couldn't reach, and that was from when the boat was lying on its side. And otherwise the auto bilge was working, and despite not being connected to shore power for a few months. So cleaning up down below wasn't that bad. I actually had to spend more time up top cleaning that up because that was a mess. It was dirty, full of all kinds of, debris from the incident, and, seagulls and everything else has been going on. So, yeah, fun stuff. So, got everything cleaned up top, and then I, on this second trip out, because today is May the 4th, so I met with my friend Kim on Friday, and I got my mainsail back from her and my little generator. You could probably hear it running out there a little bit. And did some run around, get some provisions for the weekend, and gave her some gas money and some money for her time. And got my mainsail installed, and now I have it under cover and ready to go for next little trip I plan to make here. And came down below, and I started working on that forward berthing because it was full of stuff, mostly sails and a couple of bins and some odds and ends, things that I don't generally have to break out and use for any reason. So I got all that cleared out, and I cleaned up the cushions real good and got it usable again. So I'm now using the forward berthing for its intended purpose. Put all the sails over here where the original navigation station used to be. Since that was ripped out, it's left kind of like this odd space, which is perfect for storage of the sails. So I'm just going to use that as a sail locker from now on. Since I built this really awesome chart table last fall and installed it, I really don't need another table in here. So it's going to work out nice. I reorganized the down below area, got it ready to go so that all I have to do is put things away when I want to go underway, and it's been nice. I've been a lot more relaxed now that I've been back, and I had a chance to get things back under control and start making plans. I still have things I need to do with the DA over in Bremerton and with the DAV, and I have some obligations with the Marine Corps League. So what I plan to do is I plan to live on the hook through most of the week, and then on the days surrounding Wednesdays, then I'll come into Bremerton and I'll tie up to the break wall until I can get my diesel going, and I can get in and out of slips and go to guest moorage. Just go to transient moorage. I'll pay for a couple nights here and there, and then take advantage of a couple days each week to go out to the grocery store, do what I need to do, get some supplies for the boat. It's actually a lot cheaper to do it that way than it would be to just live at a slip right now, and give me a chance to really actually get to know the boat well and actually sail, do some fun stuff. I kind of want to take a trip up to the San Juans this summer and see what it's like up there, because I have yet to get up there into the islands. I've been on Whidbey before, but Whidbey to me doesn't look much different than anywhere else. But the San Juans are supposed to be a lot of fun in the summertime. A lot of sailors up there, a lot of the same people go there every year. It's like a culture up there, so I want to check it out. I'm going to be working on getting my passport stuff straightened out and ready to go, so that if I decide I want to go to Canada, I can just hop on over, breeze through customs, and have all my papers and stuff documented right, and be able to visit some Canadian ports. One of these days I want to actually do some cruising in Alaska too. There's some nice cruising waters up there. Challenging places to sail. Places where you have to be wary of the tides and the currents. So it's going to be a couple of years before I actually am able to shake Washington off entirely and start to do my own thing. But I think at the same time, I think that the boat's going to be a lot easier to set up the way I want. Yeah, that wind's really picking up today. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but it's really something else out there right now. Big forceful gusts. This whole area is just nothing but one great big convergence zone, so you have to be really careful about planning your trips around here. The weather can get really hairy very quickly. Anyway, I wrote a blog spot here not too long ago about why I do the sailing thing and why I wanted to do the liveaboard. It's at campernicholson33.blogspot.com, and I talk about what my motivations are and what led me to this and why it's something that works really well for me. And I kind of wanted to reserve talking more about that in a different video, but I wanted everyone out there to know that Triton is safe. Triton is in sailing form. I'll be able to use her mostly this summer and spend a lot more time on the boat than I've had in the past. I'm very, very happy about the outcome with what happened with the Port of Allen and the insurance. That situation is now resolved. It is now in the past. However, I will warn people that want to use the dock, if you're going to do it guardedly, because there's a lot of stuff going on. And I have a really extensive blog about it also on my Camper Nicholson 33 blog spot, so check it out. But we're on to more positive waters now. It won't be long. I will not be in the Hood Canal anymore. I'll be out in the rest of the Puget Sound doing stuff I want to do. So getting the boat closer to places I need to be when I need to be there, and have the facilities to be able to do some of these projects. Now, I'm still on the fence about whether or not I want to get a slip right away. It would be really convenient to have it, and they're not too terribly expensive. So it's likelihood that I will, but if I do, it won't be until later next month, maybe even July. So we'll see. I just want to play it by ear. I want to see how things go. I'm going to be here at Union until the 19th. What I've been doing is I've been taking the bus from Bremerton to Belfair in Mason County, and then there's a connection there that actually drops me off right here in front of the marina. And the same buses run the same direction, going the opposite way. So well, that made a lot of sense. Talking in circles. So, in other words, the same bus lines run the opposite direction. So I can, for like $3 round trip, make it from Bremerton to Union, and it doesn't take that long to do the trip. So it's actually kind of pleasant. So, mass transit's not a bad thing. I actually spend a lot of time on the buses, even in town, because the way that people drive, and with the cost of gas and everything being what it is, it's just cheaper to take the bus when you can. I only use the car when I have to get an extensive amount of stuff. And even now, like, I've got this really cool little cart that I use as a dock cart. It has 4 wheels. It folds up into a flat apparatus, and it has a telescopic handle, and when it unfolds, it can hold up to 50 pounds of stuff, and it rolls around very easily, and it's pretty nice. It works out pretty cool. So yeah, so I spend a lot of time using mass transit when I can, and saves me a lot of money that way. Greener. I know everybody's about being green these days. You know, I tend to say, well, I'm concerned about my carbon footprint, but I'm not overly obsessed about it. I just sort of kind of live with a lower carbon footprint just by nature of my lifestyle. So, you know, I look at some of the things that I want to do with the boat for power generation. The diesel, for me, is only as good as getting in and out of a slip in a complicated marina. Otherwise, I would prefer to use the sails anyway. This boat can go anywhere I want it to go under sail. It doesn't have to use the motor hardly at all. The only thing I see the motor as being useful for, other than the marina, maneuvering in the marina, would be for power generation, for house batteries. Well, this boat, all the house systems were removed. None of the lights work because only two of the lights, actually three of the lights remain, and they're the exterior lights, and they're not even hooked up. So what I opted to do was I got these battery-powered marker lights, one for the stern and one for the bow, and a kit. They're an Atwood kit. They're not the best quality in the world, but it's better than nothing. And I do have some LEDs in strips that are for the red and green for the port and starboard on the bow. I just haven't got around to installing them yet because I just haven't been on board long enough to. But I got those, and I have plans to do a lot of LED lighting below that's mostly battery powered, and if I get the NiCads that are rechargeable, then I can recharge those batteries as I need to, using my other systems, my power generation system. So, these LED lights actually work really well. The little stick-up lights. They're really cool, and some of them are even set up to turn on when they sense that you've opened a door. So they're pretty neat. In fact, my dad bought my mom a really cool one for use in their garage, and it throws out some light. It's pretty neat. So I think I'm going to be getting some stuff like that because it's just something that you can use them indoors and outdoors. Sense movement, they turn on, they stay on for a time, and as long as you move every now and again, they'll stay on. The thing about LEDs is that they use a lot less power, so you get those rechargeable batteries to put in there, and you just have to take them out once in a while and recharge them. Wow, whoop-de-doo, big deal. And I don't really use many lights down below anyway because I like to use the kerosene hurricane lamps. I find that they are nice to use down below. They're reliable, they're convenient. Yeah, it makes sense to me. So that's kind of where I'm going. Modular power. I'm going to get wind and solar power generators that will work with my modular unit, and so my house battery is going to be a completely different circuit, and it's something that I would be able to connect to my diesel battery should my diesel battery fail. And it has built into it its own little AC power inversion, so I can use appliances as I need to. And I'll keep the generator, the little gas generator, around for those times when I really need, electricity in an emergency, like for running power tools and stuff. So, because it's small and it works really well, and it's been reliable, and it's not a big deal to store it in here either. So, but right now that's kind of where everything stands. The boat's is in good condition. I'm a lot happier for it. Being on board has been a good experience the last couple of times. Should be going out for our first sailing voyage starting the 19th when I pull out of here. So looking forward to that. And I should have lots of video feed from that to post to YouTube. So. It's been blowing like this for the last few hours. And this isn't the worst. I've actually been out here sailing this direction towards the marina in winds that were a lot bigger. Surf that was a lot bigger, but the tide is on its way out, so the water's kind of shallow. This is the facility. You can see Triton's mast over there. So I'm using my selfie stick. Something that real popular in other parts of the world, but around here people don't have selfie sticks very often. Once you get down here, it's amazing how much different the water is on this side of the marina than on the other, and it has to do with the fjord, the way it's shielding us from the wind with those tree line over there. So when the wind comes from the southwest, the tree line pretty much protects us. That and the bluff, or the ridge line, if you want to call it that. I'm going to do an exterior view of the boat. And there she is. Usually what I do to get on board, I don't usually mess with the man rails. It's just easier just to stand up here on this bulkhead and then grab the shrouds and then step up onto the tow rail and then step over the man rail. So that's what I'm going to do. But a little bit closer. There we go. She wants to get away from me. It's because of the wind. The wind is crazy. There we go. Cool. So here we are. Topsides. You can see there's the hatch for the berthing or escape hatch, and there's my head sail bag, and up here is anchor locker, and there's the extra anchor rod and pulpit. That's the spinnaker pole. Been having some problems with the spinnaker pole. I can't get it unlocked, so I don't know what I'm going to do about it. I might have to. Been soaking it with WD-40 in the hopes that it'll penetrate enough to work up whatever the corrosion is that's got stuck. I think it's more than just that though, because there's a handle here at the end that you pull on that has a cable, and that's what's supposed to activate that lock or deactivate it, you know, open it up. This boat's got 3 sets of winches. These two Lumar 40s, they're 2-speed. There's one on each side. And then all the lines for the halyards all come back to the cockpit. What this boat has is a Profurl 2 head foil. So we got the hooks down there the sail connects to, and then this little guide, you put the head sail into that, or the top of the sail into it, and then you feed it into the slots. And there's 2 slots on this. The idea behind it is that while you're out sailing or racing, you can leave one sail up while starting to feed the next one in simultaneously. You do this sail down as you're raising the other. Hence why there's 2 halyards, port, starboard. So that way you don't lose any power. It's one way of doing it. A lot of people like to do the roller furling systems where you have a drum that gathers line and then rolls it onto this, which can turn. Makes it nice for rolling the blind up. It allows you to take in sail or let out sail from the cockpit without having to come up on the foredeck, especially if you're doing it by yourself. So, yeah, other than the crazy blustery wind, it's gorgeous out today. So see, over here it's not so bad, but you get out closer to the point, and it's nuts over there. There's white caps and everything. So, get a little bit of movement here at the dock. It's not too bad. Although you'll get some powerful gusts that come through here, and you'll feel like the whole boat just sort of like heel a little bit. It's something else, something to behold. Just to give you an idea of what some of the surrounding area looks like. This is the lower end of the Hood Canal. This is just after the hairpin turn. Those 2 points you see on either side that come really close together, they call that the Narrows, and that is a challenge to sail, because as you go through the Narrows it gets even narrower still. So this point here and the other adjacent point is actually quite a bit further down yet. So you get beyond this point, you get to the next one, there's another point that's adjacent to it as you turn northeasterly, and that's where it really narrows out. This is a very challenging body of water to navigate with a sailboat, especially if you're not using an engine, because you have to be really careful with the tides and watch the currents very closely, because that of course impacts the direction of water flow, currents that run through here. And as you get into narrower and narrower passages, it speeds the water flow up. It's just like if you try to force a gallon of water through a very narrow nozzle compared to a trickle. You know, there's a big difference between the speed in which that water must flow to get through that opening. Well, it's I guess they call it hydrodynamics. So you come around this way. Now that all over on that opposite shore, that's Tahuya. And directly across from me, if you see, there's a set of houses over there in that little like a lagoon. That's Tahuya proper, the actual town or the village. And then the next set of houses up is the Summertide Resort. That's where I kept the boat last summer. You'll see kind of a big house there, and if you look real closely, you can just barely make out the pier. That's about a mile away. So it's about a mile across here. And then you got some more houses. This is all Tahuya, all the way up along through here. And that point is where Kim and her family live. They own that point. And just beyond that, you see the mountains. That's the Olympics on the Olympic Peninsula. And here's the rest of the marina. So it's really pretty down here. It's gorgeous. I mean, earlier last week there was more snow on the mountains. We had some storms that came through, cold front. But you can see that most of the snow is already gone. But yeah, it's really pretty up there. I think they call those the Brothers. That's the name of those mountains, or the Clifton Ridge. And out here, directly across from us, on the other shore, that is Potlatch. That's an Indian reservation. You can see there's a great big, like a hydro power over there. You see the lines running down to the plant. So that's all Potlatch. And then it turns into Hoodsport. And Hoodsport is that series of buildings way over there, just beyond that point, and across on the other side of the bay. So this area down here is kind of wide, because if I was to go from here to the other side, we're talking about maybe 2.5, 3 miles difference. Yeah, that's about right. So, but coming around the point there, that's a real interesting place to sail, because the weather can change, because of the way that if the wind's blowing from the southwest like it is now, then you come around the point into the wind, and then swing around and then just let the boom out and just go wing on wing. It'll shove you all the way down this channel through the narrows, because the wind just sort of gets funneled right through there. It keeps sustained power. But then when you come over this way, if you're going out, you can actually follow the wind going northwest and be on a wing on wing going that direction, and it'll push you quite a bit. But the water over there can get really violent. I spent the night at Musketti Point. It was November of 2013. It was the first voyage I had with her after we took possession of her. And that morning it was pretty calm, but the tide was moving in my favor. And then the wind started to pick up like it is now. And then it got to be about twice the power by the time I got here near Union. And I was just on the outside of that no wake buoy over there, and by the time I got around through here, it was blowing so hard that I took my head sail down, was just using the main, and it pushed me at 4.5 knots all the way down through the narrows. So it was pretty intense. So the boat handled it rather well, because the water out there in that channel, it was churning up a furious boil. It's pretty violent. But this boat glides right over that like it's not even there. It's kind of nice. The bigger boats are, you know, there's a reason why they have small craft advisories. You know, you get in a smaller boat, even the small chop can be dangerous. But when you get in a larger vessel that's heavier ballast, does help. It makes it a lot easier to navigate. But it still doesn't negate the danger, because you still do pitch a little bit and you can be wretched violently from one side to the next, and if you're not careful, you don't catch your guard, you could accidentally go over the side. Hell, it could even happen here at the dock too. I mean, I've experienced some crazy weather out here, but so far this spring has been relatively mild. We've had a couple of storms that were kind of scary, but they weren't too terribly bad. Not like I've seen in the winter. Wintertime can get really crazy down here. So the boat's in pretty good condition now. I spent a lot of time cleaning it, as I mentioned earlier. There's some things I need to do topside to get this boat in even better shape, but there are repair issues that just need to be addressed. This is the little generator I was telling you about that I use to power the boat if I don't have shore power. As you can see, this slip doesn't have shore power, so I have to provide my own. And it works pretty nice. It's not too terribly noisy. I turned it off for the day because I don't really need it right now. If I want to check the internet, I have my mobile hotspot charged up and it's ready to go in case I need to send an email out. The cockpit on this boat is not entirely huge. It's actually kind of small, which is typical of blue water boats. Blue water boats, they tend to have smaller cockpits in them because that the less you have available to catch waves that could swamp you out, the better. You don't want to sink yourself. Some of these big boats, or even the smaller boats, like my 24-foot American Mariner had a bigger cockpit than this did. But this boat's actually rather nice. I think the cockpit's just the right size. I have tiller steering on this boat, and there's two compartment access panels here on the top side on the stern. I have an extra Danforth style anchor for the muddy bottoms when I need it. And I got two nice great big cleats on the transom. This boat was really overbuilt. A lot of the fiberglass on this boat's like super thick. It has a lifeboat locker. It's good for like a 6-person raft if you want to put one in there. And has a propane locker right here for a small propane bottle, which I haven't gotten around to buying yet because I'm still on the fence about what kind of propane I want to use on board. I got a couple of lockers here in the seating area under both sides. This one's rather cool because the insert actually comes out. This one is molded and you can't pull it out. I'm not sure why they did it that way, but it is what it is. I had tried to gain access to the transom from inside here with this pulled out, but I'm too fat to fit down in there, and I have yet to meet anyone skinny enough to get in there. That's why I end up taking the transom mount off of the vessel, because it was just broken up and it was impossible to reach the bolts to try and reinstall it. On this end of the boat there's a depth sounder. When I first purchased the vessel, it wasn't hooked up, and the previous owner didn't know if it worked or not because he never bothered to mess with it. But it does work. Just needed to be connected to power and have the transducer attached. And it has two compasses, one on each side. The compasses also have the ballast list in degrees, so you can tell just how much of a heel you have, port to starboard. Now these are probably the original compasses, so the oil inside of them should probably be drained and replaced, but that has to be done by a professional, and I just haven't found anyone around here that does that yet. I'm gonna have to ask around. And then down below, it's awful steep going down there, but with some well placed footing, so there's the chart table that I built last summer. This is the galley, or what's left of the galley. Still have to redo all that. I installed this old school Hummingbird depth sounder as a backup. The reason why I put it in here, it's not just as a backup, but it gives you a graphical representation of the bottom, which is kind of nice to have, especially when you're sailing in shoal territory. And I have it set to give me an alarm when I reach 15 feet, so I know where I'm at with the keel. This boat drafts 6 foot with a spade keel, so you want to make sure you don't run that spade keel into a rock or something. You could screw up the boat pretty bad. So back in here, in this corner, there used to be cabinets in there. Of course, they're all ripped out. They're gone. But I'm still thinking about how I want to redo this. A lot of it's going to depend on what I use to replace this oven and stove unit, because I want to put something gimbaled in here, but I don't think I'm going to put, I'm not sure if I want to put an oven in here or not. I saw one on eBay from a company that does like camp ovens that look a lot like this one. The difference is that it has a like a splash hood that goes around it that you can unfold it, and you're folded up and then it closes and forms a flat surface on top. I thought that would be kind of cool to have. And they're propane, so if I get a propane bottle on board, it'd be real easy to, you know, put the propane to it. There's actually holes and everything to put the lines through there. I have the water tank already installed. It's one of those pillow style ones. It was made in France. I had to order a new elbow joint for the hose fitting because the original was screwed up. It was just broken and you couldn't attach anything to it anymore. So I sanitized it and replaced that hose fitting. I just need to buy a new hose for it now and get that installed, and then I gotta put the foot pump in. Of course, there's a panel here. You can see the little hole for the finger right there, and this comes out and has access underneath the sink. Sink could be scrubbed out. It needs to be cleaned up pretty good, but it's stainless, so that's easy enough to do. You see my chart table is pretty big. I got a lot of stuff on there, so pardon the mess. This is what happens when you're on board. I keep foodstuffs in those cupboards for now until I figure out what I'm going to do with the galley. Some of the shelving needs to be replaced. This one over here especially is getting pretty bad. I gotta actually yank that out of there, and once I get it out, I'll probably be able to clean it up and might be able to repaint it or something. Maybe still be able to salvage it, but we'll see. It depends on if it's rotten or not. It looks like it's getting nasty, so. The port side settee is just here. I mean, the settee is still technically there. It's underneath this table. Over on that side, I'm going to install I want to put a Dickinson solid fuel heater on this bulkhead, because I can run the flue pipe up into the overhead into this corner, and it will not interfere with any of the lines that need to be used for the rig. So that, and it's also like a point where you won't be stepping, so I never put my foot on it, so, or have any recollection of doing so. So putting a flue pipe there will work rather nice. I thought about maybe getting the propane style one, or finding another older style, what do they call those? It was like sea marine, maybe, but it was a Dickinson used to make them, and it was they had like a kerosene burner in them, and you could burn kerosene or diesel on them. They were pretty neat. You can even use alcohol in them. They were multiple fuel. Alcohol, though, is just used as shellac thinner. That stuff has a flash to it. It has a way of doing some weird stuff. Over here we have a standing locker. It's pretty deep in there. I would show you the inside of it, but it's got a lot of stuff in there. I don't want to be embarrassed by opening the closet right now. But we don't really call them closets on boats. We call them standing lockers, but it's a closet nonetheless. This is the head. Now, the toilet is a hand pump, and then it's saltwater fed, and you can do both a dry flush or a wet flush, depending on what you're doing. And this used to be where the sink was located. And you can see in the fiberglass where they used to have the pump for the hand unit to pump the sink. But they've taken the sink out a long time ago. Probably when they replaced this head, when they put this newer one in. This isn't the original head that was in here. This is a replacement. So of course things happen when you do changes. The saltwater feed for this toilet, the cock is underneath the berthing under this one compartment. So if I wanted to shut off the saltwater feed, I'd have to pull up the cushion and the cover, and that's where it'd be located. Up forward, this is the berthing. This is where you sleep. And up forward to that is the road locker. It's for the anchor. The anchor sits inside of a compartment that has a door that I showed you earlier up on the top sides. And you feed the road through a hole in there while it's still attached to the anchor, and then the road falls into this locker and it stores in there. It's best to try to do it with two people rather than one person. But imagine with some practice, one person could probably do it. I don't use it. I just basically I gather the line and I drape it over the pulpit and then bundle it. It's just a lot easier. Prevents it from getting tangled or bound up in some weird way. But it's nice. That hatch serves as a nice skylight, so it gives it a lot of light in there, nice and bright. And when you open it up, you get lots of fresh air in through there. I also have, you probably saw that little vent, the fresh air scoop that's on that, or the cowl that's on the hatch. I have cowls like that all over the boat. On the older boats, they used to call them door raids. But you see, there's an opening here in the overhead. That's where one of the scoops is. So when the wind is blowing, it picks up the air and it comes in through here. In fact, I'm getting quite a bit today because it's pretty windy out there. It's kind of cool. And this one has a screen in it. It keeps the bees from flying in there and, you know, setting up shop. So this here is a quarter berth. I was using the quarter berth to sleep in up until yesterday. Last night I actually used the regular berthing, which, as you can tell, is quite spacious. You know, that regular berthing is almost about the same amount of living space as what's here in the saloon. That's the crazy part. But this little quarter berth is perfect for, you know, if I have a guest that wants to come on board. I mean, I can sleep in it very comfortably. I had no problem sleeping in it. I'm sure that a child would have a lot easier time with it than a full-size adult like myself. But and you can even sleep on this settee. They're just the right length. I've slept on the settee before also. So right now, as it sits, I could sleep 5 people in here. There's another berthing that's back in here, but I use it for storage for the stuff that I don't have to have access to. Mainly because that berthing isn't finished. Never has been. It's not a really pleasant place to hide, hang out. So I just assume just use it for storage. And I keep all my other sail bags here, so they're readily available. And there's the, if you can see it, there's a wood panel over there, and that has the bilge pump controls. And I have a little battery charger. So as you can see, I have a lot of wires laying, here because I've got stuff hooked up in case I need to run the charger. When I get underway, then I usually put a lot of this stuff away, and then I just grab out what I need as I need it when I'm out on the hook somewhere. But when I'm in port, I tend to kind of just plug everything in, just so I can make sure I get a good fresh charge on everything. So, yeah, this chart table is a big lifesaver because it gives me a flat surface to work on stuff with. Underneath, I have a lot of area for storage space. I plan to finish this later this summer. I want to put some panels in here that are removable with the sliding bolt locks on them, and that'll give me a place to put more equipment and hide it away so it's not getting in the way or falling into the middle of the boat when the boat's heeled and at sail. And these portals on this side are pretty neat. They let in plenty of light down here. It's nice and bright during the day. They're tinted, so if you're on board and during the day, people really can't see that well down in here, so you don't have to worry about people peering in and staring at you. You get a little bit of privacy. The previous owner had cut those 4 little holes you see over there on to the right there. Yeah, and they put that Lexan cover over them, made like a window. And I was kind of at odds about it at first. I thought it was kind of goofy to do that, but I kind of like it because when you have the causeway closed up, you can see out into the cockpit from in there and see who's coming and going. If you're actually moored on the port side, normally with this boat, the previous owner used to moor it on the starboard side a lot, and I actually had it moored on the starboard side a lot too. I kind of got used to doing it that way with this boat, but normally I like to do the traditional thing and board from the port. And now that I'm moored on the port side, I'm finding that I like it better this way. So when I go to other marinas, I'm going to try and get a slip that allows me to board from the port side. I had that set up with my Catalina 27 and also with my Ranger 24, and it just, I don't know, it just seems like it's a natural place to board from. So, but that is the tour. And oh, and yes, that barometer works. It's actually very accurate. I compared it with my barometer on my my Casio watch, and it's within about 100, within less than 100 millibars accuracy. So it's pretty good. And I noticed that the barometer has been falling since I came out on Friday, because it was up in a very dry range, and now it's only in fair. I'm surprised it hasn't dropped down further with all this wind that's going on out there. So, yeah, but this is my home. This is what's going to be my home from now on, anyway.